It's your Tuesday movie critic here once again, talking about the 2023 Oscars nominating the best in film for 2022. so, this for this segment, I'll be looking at best films in costume design. And there were some good contenders. I was pretty glad that they, for the most part, put some good contenders. Because sometimes I looked at them like, why are you choosing this movie for this category? But in this category, out of all of them, I think they kind of like, I could see why they chose them. The first nomination goes to Elvis. The costumes were so on point. I felt like they went back in time. Elvis was so flashy and gregarious with his outfits. Catherine Martin really nailed it. It was perfect. And not just Elvis's costumes from his concerts, but also his everyday outfits, the outfits of the supporting players, the outfits of the kids in the background. Everything was just key to making this movie look like it was set in the 50s and the 60s, and then in the 70s, when Elvis came to his demise. So, yeah, great. Yeah, I love that. And I did love the flashy costumes by Elvis. I mean, I don't know who was more flashy, he or Liberace. Look it up, kids. Anyway, so the next movie is Everything Everywhere All at Once. So now the costumes for Evelyn and Joy, who were basically the two of the four main characters, were so excellent. However, with the exception of the ballroom scene where Waymond wore the tux, which he's looked, and this could just be me saying this, he looked very sexy, very hot, very cavalier in that tux. Um, there was really not a whole lot of attention paid to the costumes of the other characters. There were some scenes where, yeah, um, the characters were like in the different surreal, if I can use that word, and I will, in the surreal uh part of the movie, where, yeah, the characters, but in some parts they were just in regular clothes the whole time, and they could have been in the same outfits for the entire movie, where they were in the real segment or the surreal segment. And I'm not sure, because some parts it just, yeah, I think they pay more attention to the main characters and the extras, the supporting main characters, as opposed to the extras. And I think that if you're gonna put up for costume design, everybody has to be on point. And I don't necessarily think that was the case for Everything, Everywhere All at Once. But the thing of it was, it didn't take away from the movie. So I don't think that would be counted against them. For the people that are judging with the Oscars, for me, it counts against it for me. So, let's go to Black Panther. Now, the Black Panther Wakanda Forever surpasses the movie Elvis in costume design because of this one point for me. The costumes in Black Panther are based on culture and meaning for each particular character. You knew who this character was or what tribe this character was based on their costume. Same thing. You knew who the queen was based on her costume. And even when she took it off, Angela Bassett was fabulous. You knew when this one character was out of place in Wakanda because she was wearing clothes from the U.S., street clothes from the U.S. So, yeah, it fit, and you knew, and each character's clothes fit that character. They were very particular, it seems, about that, and it worked, and it meshed together at the same time, stood out individually. And then you knew the characters who were the water people, not just because they were in the water, because at some points they were out, because of what they wore, their costume. So yeah, it was it was on point from everyone. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever is is a step above Elvis. All right, so let's go on. Uh, Babylon. The costume design is the one thing that I believe didn't fit in this movie. The guys' outfits were sometimes appropriate for the time period for the most part, but then the costumes were everywhere and out of place and didn't fit for the females. I mean this. Okay, let's take this one scene where the main character, the main female character, is supposed to be a saloon girl in a western. All the guys were in the old time western outfits. She was in a sundress, and I'm like, okay, that's not what they wore back then. And it wasn't just her, it was other things where people were just wearing clothes or weren't wearing any clothes at all, you know, but some things just didn't work. And I think it was more about the characters in this movie, whether they be main characters, supporting characters, or background, than it was about the costumes. I don't, and I think I understand why they were put in this category because this was a time period piece, but some of the costumes didn't match the time period, in my opinion. I don't think it's worthy of winning. Last nomination in this category is Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris. A very lovely movie. The movie takes place in London during 1957. The costume design is impeccably gorgeous. The costumes for each area, London, England, Paris, France, the hotel, the Dior dress shop, the Legion, uh, the costumes also fit the people that wore them. The outfits are sometimes beautiful, sometimes elegant, but always clean and coiffed. With the exception of the two dresses Mrs. Harris gets, there is no personal meaning to the character's clothes. And again, that's where the and I don't necessarily think they have to have meaning to be in this category, but that is the added notes that is in Black Panther Wakanda Forever. And I think if you go that extra mile, you should get extra notice that gives you that extra point to winning the Oscar. That was a personal feeling with the dresses for Mrs. Harris. Oh, and then the other character, the shop girl, I should say, there was a meaning behind the whole um, store of Dior, for lack of a better phrase. So, and not saying that, but for the most part, people they wore the clothes that fit that period or fit that area or place that they were in at that moment. So that's why I think Black Panther Wakanda Forever should win. They went that extra mile, and for that extra mile, they should get that extra point or whatever it is they do to determine who's the winner, and they should be the winner. But the other movies were definitely worthy of this nomination, no doubt. Okay, well, that's all I have for you on this segment. I hope you like it. Let me know. And I hope to see you next time.